Hey, I'm Christopher John Farley, a senior editor with the Wall Street Journal. I'm here with Daveed Diggs, one of the stars of Hamilton, plays a dual role, plays Lafayette and also Thomas Jefferson in the show. You know, the great thing about Hamilton, one of the many great things, are the lyrics. The lyrics are so interesting and rich, and so what we decided to do here at the Wall Street Journal is we put together this sort of interactive look at some of the lyrics at Hamilton, kind of charting the rhyme schemes, and the fact that some of the lyrics in your show really kind of interestingly compare to some of the lyrics from some hip-hop greats, like Big Pun and people like that. So we set up this sort of interactive project, which we're going to see the next panel here. And let's listen to a little bit to one of the first songs in the show, Alexander Hamilton, that you're in and that Leslie Odom's in. We're going to hear a little bit of that right now. And you'll see what we're going to do.
How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by providence, impoverished and squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar? Okay, so we see we're charting the rhyme scheme here, and we're going to compare that to another hip-hop great, and this is from Big Pun. I'm sure a guy you know well, and we're going to compare.
The one and only son of Tony Montana. You ain't promised manana in the rotten Montana. Come on, Fana, we be bar rhymes. Fill it, marijuana, snake bite, anaconda.
Let's compare that to My Shot, as performed by LYN-MANUEL Miranda.
I know the action in the street is exciting, but Jesus, between all the bleeding and fighting, I've been reading and writing.
And what do you think when you hear songs from your show compared to some of the hip-hop greats, and you sort of chart out where the rhymes are, how the rhythm's working? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, this is very cool, actually, particularly using Big Pun, because Lynn is such a Big Pun fan, you know, so, and you hear it even when Lynn speaks, you hear all the Big Pun, but like getting to see it charted out like this, I mean, that's what you do as a rapper, right? You study the people who you love and you figure out how to imitate them. You figure out where they place their rhymes and where, you know, so this makes a lot of sense. It's pretty interesting. And one of the great things about Hamilton is, since it was conceived initially as a mixtape and not really a show, Lynn didn't feel the need to pull any punches in terms of rhymes and scheme and stuff. It didn't matter that you weren't going to get all of the plot immediately, because it was a thing that you were supposed to go back and rewind 100 times.
Well, we're going to listen to one of your songs from the show, one of my favorite tracks from the album, Washington on Your Sides. Let's listen to a little bit of this.
I'm in the cabinet. I am complicit in watching him grabbing at power and kissing. And Washington isn't going to listen to disciplined dissidents. This is the difference. This kid is out.
Oh.
Because, of course, you're a rapper. You have a great group, Clipping, that you're in, a great rap trio. When you heard LYN-MANUEL Miranda's lyrics for this song, Washington on Your Side, what did you think as someone who's actually created their own rap albums and rap songs?
I love this. Actually, this is one of the last things we added. We were already in previews at the public, and this part of this song didn't exist. And he showed up one day and was like, I just realized that we don't have a really show-off moment for you as Jefferson. We have this great moment as Lafayette, but why are we using you if we don't let you show off for a second as Jefferson? So I wrote this thing last night, and he played it for me, and we were all listening to a bunch of Kendrick Lamar at the time, and so it has this sort of bouncy, like West Coast sort of feel to it, and you know, that's right. I'm from California. That's right in the things I love. So as soon as he played it for me, I fell in love with it. This is my favorite. This is my favorite lyric to perform in the show every night. It feels closest to home.
Do you think people outside the hip-hop world always understand and respect and realize the great art that goes into creating some of these hip-hop lyrics? I mean, I listen to a guy like Kendrick Lamar, and it's like poetry, and I don't know if people who don't listen to it all the time, and kids know it, but maybe a lot of adults don't understand what's going on.
If you give the time over to it, you will, and maybe that's one of the things that's happening with Hamilton, is people who maybe weren't as exposed to rap music are becoming more exposed and looking for it. But the other thing about rap is it's always been coded language. It's always been a language for us to speak, us not, and I don't mean that, I mean anybody who considers themselves part of the culture. It's been a way for us to speak to each other that is intentionally difficult for other people to understand. It's a way of having something that's your own and being able to talk about, you know, and there are resonances of that go back to days of slavery, and all communities have ways that we speak to each other, and that was one of the things about rap music is if you know, and if you're a hip hop head, then you understand all the quotations and you get that. But apparently musical theater is the same kind of world, because I didn't know any of the musical theater references that Lynn throws in this show, and there are as many of them as there are rap references. So I have needed to do my research and catch up on that front,